Alright, so this is sort of something that I needed to put together for a while. It's my first time doing this sort of podcasty like thing, mabob. Yeah, so I apologize for the audio levels not being what you may expect from me. But this was sort of long overdue anyway, so I figured that I might as well get this over with, you know. It's kind of nice that I have this cool microphone. It's just a blue snowball ice, if you're curious. It's nothing special. The previous microphone I used was the Samsung Go mic. Not really good because it's capable of getting any background noise. I throw like a bottle in the back of my room and they can still hear it. It's that bad. Anyway, moving on. Let's go ahead and get straight to it. I must also go ahead and discuss of the previous years and give you what's going on with my webcomics and the website and sort of the future if you're curious at all. But let's go ahead and get straight to it. I guess I can get the quick introduction out of the way too. I'm Yabo, Yalin Vinkendo. That's just simple, that's it, really. I don't mind if you call me Yalin, that's just what most people like to call me. Moving on. So let's go ahead and talk about the 2015, which not much has happened. The thing is that I used to hang out with this particular group. We played a lot of video games. It was actually mostly Monster Hunter, and here's the thing with that game. That game took a good chunk of my life. Let me just say it right there. I think I clocked in 600 hours. There's a lot of things I could have done with 600 hours. Let's just say it right there. And I was not happy. And as a matter of fact, it was like a year and a half I didn't upload any new webcomic at all. That is unacceptable. That is not what I was expecting at all. I'm not proud of that at all. No. So it was until then that I did some interesting changes around the end of 2015, but it was until the March of 2016, and it was the Ides of March, so it was the middle of March, even though despite the website saying that, the webcomic was made later, but I've uploaded a lot earlier, so I don't know. No, actually, it was the other way around. What I've done is I made webcomics in the past, but then upload it now. When you see the date, when you go for the archive, you might see that it wasn't uploaded on around March 15th, and that was because it was done a lot earlier than that, because I make webcomics in advance. Now it's like the opposite right now. Holy camole, I'm trying to keep up. So, I'll talk about that later. Anyway, yeah, it was that moment, that the March of 15th or 14th is the moment of where I announced publicly that, hey, okay, this is it. There's going to be a new webcomic every Wednesday. Why Wednesday? I don't know. I just thought that was a perfect day. I guess. I don't know. Probably because it was my day off or something. Probably something like that. And I just went with that. Yeah. And to this day, this right now is 2017. I guess I've been doing somewhat okay. There was one day where I couldn't upload anything, and I ended up putting a couple of sketches. So yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah, yeah, that was wonderful. So let's go ahead and talk about 2016, the sort of the when I was dealing with my website. So in the beginning, my website was using what I would call here. Let me just double check here, because I don't want to butcher this at all. The reason why I don't want to butcher this is because I think the last time I talked to someone about it, I just completely messed up and they couldn't even find it. So yeah, so it's called, if this website can load up, okay. Yeah, it's called Poor Man's Comic Publisher. So PMCP. There you go. Now, I've actually got the acronyms wrong so many times in the past. That's why I just don't want to mess this up. So you can see that I'm a bit nervous on that part. So you can just find it by just typing in what I've just said, and you get what I was dealing with here. The thing is that my home site initially was just a blog, and then you click on the sidebar, and then it takes you straight to the webcomic. And that's where I felt like, I'm hindering my content. I think content needs to be shown first. Hence, that's why I moved gradually towards what almost every webcomic artist would use, which is WordPress with Comic Press plugin. So many webcomic artists use this, and including, like, I don't know, like Nina Paley, for example. She uses that too for some of her works. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this. There isn't. Only until then I learned from my acquaintance, David Revoir. If you're not familiar with this gentleman, he makes a webcomic series called Pepper and Carrot. And he got the memo, or maybe he noticed something, that he learned that his website must be mobile friendly. Otherwise, Google search results will not work for him. If you were to type in his website, right? Or not his website, just type in Pepper Carrot, right? On Google search on your mobile device, whenever that might be, a tablet or smartphone, chances are it will not appear. Probably because of Google's ranking, not this ranking system, but just for the fact that if Google tracks your website not being so mobile friendly, your website will not appear. I mean, I don't know why I'm going in such details about this. It's obvious. It's simple. If your website's not mobile friendly, chances are your website won't be appearing on Google search. Okay, moving on. Here's the thing: is that when I noticed this, I was just like, oh my god. I'm looking at my, WordPress website, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's time that I do something about it. Because the WordPress, right? It's what how most webcomic websites out there would have nice navigation buttons. Here's the thing: is that my navigation button is literally just text, and it's small, and it's not good for any mobile viewing site. And I was just like, okay, I gotta do something about this. I gotta make sure my website is mobile friendly, because apparently reading webcomics on your mobile device is the future. So I tried doing something about that, and this is where I came across Grawlix, which is Grawlix. Let me type this in, so that way I don't, again, I don't want to say anything inaccurate here, so I apologize. Okay. Yeah, Grawlix CMS. You can go. The website's called getgrawlix.com. Granted that if you know how to spell Grawlix, it's GRAWLIX.com. So getgrawlix.com. So what's really nice about this, and I have used CMS before, I guess, is that they have a strong emphasis on mobile friendly website. And that got me a huge interest, and I said, ooh, okay, I've got to try this out. And here's the thing, is that things didn't go so well. I got in contact with the guys who make this, right? And here's the thing, if you're wondering, I was just, I managed to get through the installation phase, only then that it's just the website's not functioning properly at all. It just was not working. So this was enough for me to just say, okay, something's not right. I had to get in contact with the creators behind the CMS, but then I also had to get in contact with the guys who make, the website hosting. That didn't work. That didn't work at all. And I know mean negatives to both sides of the party, because they tried their best helping me. And it must just be me. Maybe I'm not reading anything properly. Maybe I'm just not good at handling these sorts of things. So after like I don't know, I think it wasted like 30 to 40 hours. Just like when I could have just been working towards my webcomic. Instead, I was just struggling with this website. I gave up, and I eventually went back to the poor man's comic publisher thing. And thank goodness I did, because I ended up just polishing up the website a lot more, and I made it a lot more prettier. And in this time, instead of having the blog being the first thing, like in the very past, now it's just my webcomic is the first thing you would see, because content is the first, content first, really. I'm already the kind of person that doesn't like registration walls or anything that's in front of your face just to see the content. You already come across those websites where you just, oh, you want to read this article? Well, you got to get through past our annoying ads just to read our content. I don't like that. I'm never a fan of that. So, yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that certainly is fun. Also, right, it's, I do need to talk about the, I did, the hosting thing. I previously used a hosting service called A Small Orange. It was pretty cheap, mind you, but here's the thing: is that it doesn't have unlimited bandwidth because they want to be front out honest. But I figured that it was time that I move towards better services, and now I'm using HostGator. Now, granted, is HostGator really good? Well, it's popular, I guess, and they have unlimited bandwidth, and I think that's pretty important later in the future if I ever get popular. I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but hey, um, granted I say unlimited bandwidth because it's actually called unmetered now. That's these terminologies do change from time to time. Yeah, and I like sorry, I meant to say I like HostGator. I have no problems with it so far. Same thing with A Small Orange as well. So moving on. Um, During 2016, I also got into streaming, and only then that the later half of the 2016 I didn't stream at all. So I really need to get back onto that game. There was a moment where I even streamed for like 8 hours or something like that, or probably even more longer than that. And I need to get back into that game. I think that might be fun to get into. Um, I don't want to overstress myself though. It's not really good. I don't see any sort of I don't see what there is to prove that, oh, hey, I can stream in such a long sessions, really. I think, there needs to be some sort of personality up there, you know, I guess. I mean, it's sure, effort is one thing, but, it's nothing when you don't have, uh, you don't have the energy to talk in front of a microphone, something like that, something like that. Yeah, and also I'm still to this day I have a bit of difficulties figuring out, oh, which platform do I want to stick with? YouTube, Twitch, or Pictaro.tv? um, for now I'm getting comfortable with Twitch. I think it's because I guess I want to balance between the playing video games and then also making art. I think that's just probably why. Um, yeah, I guess that's all there is on that part because Pictaro was like exclusively art only. Only then did they finally change the rules, saying, "Hey, you can stream video games, but it can't be to whatever amount of hours," which is very silly. This probably has changed at this point. I'm probably this stuff I'm saying is pretty old news. Yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead and talk about Gray Sky now. I want to get to this next point. It's funny that I come across certain people. They ask me this question, and it's very important, and I might as well share it because why not? This webcomic series Gray Sky, what is it about? And I would tell them, hey, it's just slice of life, it's just oldies, goose, and gas, sure. But I never really explained the sort of the initial plot. So why don't I do that? So the series here, right? Gray Sky. Because the domain name. I think that's what people want to ask is what's up with the domain name? and it's called Gray Sky Hunters, right? So what's with the hunters part? You see, the initial plot was that it's just a bunch of guys who had the license to become bounty hunters, but they're so amateur at it, they're not really that good at their jobs. It's supposed to be a mixture of action and comedy. That's just it. Yeah, a lot of dark humor. Yada yada yada. The reason why I fall back into just calling it Gray Sky was because it's sort of a prologue. And because these characters, right? They, you see, it's in a way that I'm not really experienced with making comics, really. So I needed a good reason to fall back into something, making something simple. And I figured that that's why I wanted to do something more simplistic. Sure, I think a lot of people have their sort of big ambitious, like, oh, here's this huge family tree, here's the friendship tree, here's all the details about the characters, who cares? I think what readers want is something simple to follow. Don't have some really lengthy history that that will bore your audiences. It's not a smart idea, especially if it's your first webcomic project. So hence that's why I fall back into something more simplistic. So instead of having these characters just go off and go crazy with their license, I figured that maybe I should fall back into something where they're just still attending the academy and still going through the process of getting their licenses and still having to learn more about each of the characters' personality. Hence, that's why it's simply just called Gray Sky. Eventually, we will move on to Gray Sky Hunters once things are once all the pieces are are put together. What's really neat though, as time passes on, is that I eventually ended up, and even just recently, I think it's just a couple of weeks ago, I ended up making a new sets of characters. And if anything, it's kind of hilarious how it looks too similar to an animated series called Ruby. Is unintentional, by the way. I don't know why. Yeah. So Gray Sky is you would have this spiky black haired guy. He's the pretty much the main protagonist. Now I decided to think of, what about the antagonist? What about the character that is gonna be annoying for this protagonist? I eventually ended up making a character that I ended up making a stream too, which I think people can still watch if you're too curious. Her name is V, which is a punk character who specializes in just stealing things, and hence she also leads an interesting team. I guess I eventually ended up with the team name, because we have Gray Sky. Now we have this other team called Red Azure. Yeah, I'm gonna let people figure out what Azure means anyway, or why I even went with that. But then I have this other team which specializes in just slaying monsters, which is Black Cloud, and then I have another team that specializes in bodyguarding and escorting, which is White Celestial. Yeah, that's nice. I'll eventually make more drawings of each of these main characters, because that's just 4 main characters I pretty much talked about. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, if you're curious, White Celestial is led by a woman. Her name is Eza, and Black Cloud is led by another woman who's really good with swords. Her name is Kay. So you might notice that I like naming my characters by 3 letters. That's just how I roll. Okay, and now let's go ahead and move on to the next point. Yeah, you can tell I'm reading from a list. I'm very creative. Donations, right? So I need to find a way to cut this off soon, because 2017 was definitely the year I don't want to. I mean, granted, if you're curious how long this sort of webcomic project has been around, it's been around for a long time, sure, but it's been around to the point of where you know, where I'm not that well known, and that should be pretty obvious. I'm not well known. And how many donations have I received so far? Throughout, like, what, 2015 to now is only 2 donations, and that was a bit forced on, in a way. Let me explain those 2 moments that was forced on. Number 1 was when I shared this to my brother. My brother decided to share this on Facebook. That feels a bit forced on, sure. Number 2 was when I had a discussion with some guys on Discord, and I decided to share it. And because he asked me, saying, "Hey, can I see your art?" And I said, "Sure." And he out of nowhere decided to donate $25. I'm like, "You didn't need to do that. That donation is optional, sure." But it was very nice of him, because he hasn't even seen my artwork first. Why did you do such a blind donation? That is very, very, very weird. Very weird. Yeah, and here's the thing, is that I never expect donations. It's like the lowest priority. The reason why I find it to be the lowest priority is because of just the views. And I have this loaded up. Or do I? Come on now. It's a lot of tabs. Woohoo. I love tabs. I love me some tabs. Oh, never mind. It's right here. I'll show this print screen if you once I put this together. Okay. Yeah, looking at the past. Holy camoly. So, Webalizer, I don't know if that's a good place to check my number of views, but yeah, this is where I get to see the amount of visits on my sites and the number of pages and the number of hits and all that. And if anything, it's funny, around in July I seem to get a lot of visitors, but then around in, like, yeah, let's see, September, like, only 32 people decide to visit my website. Oh dear. And I always wonder if just a half a chunk of it is just bots. Here, let's check the latest one here. April. Because I'm doing this in May. So I click on that. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and just take a look on the visits. Okay. So it's mostly... Here, hold on. I didn't even need to click on it. Go back. Yeah, okay. There's no sort of way, because that would be nice to see on what days that they have visited, but really, it's like, like if you want some sort of Far Cry of the comparison, I don't even want to bring him up again, but David, he would say that he would get at least 100,000 views daily. That's like, what, 6 digits? And look at me, I'm only going for 2 digits. Oh no, it's the end of the world for me. Not really. No, it's not the end of the world for me. I mean, that's not. It certainly is not, but you can see why I am not expecting donations. I don't want to focus on donations. That's like the lowest of low priority. Hence, that's why in the start of 2017, I want to focus on the social. I want to focus on, readers' feedback, if there's any. I just want more viewers, really. That's just really it. I just want more people to read my stuff. That's just simple. And that's just, yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't really need to say much on that. Yeah, it's just that on Twitter, I finally decided to utilize hashtags for once, and it's not bad, actually. I am getting certain people noticing my stuff, but I'm seeing that it's not doing too much, but maybe I'll find certain methods, if anything. One of the biggest concerns, if anything, is that it's very rewarding to have your own website. But who knows that at this point, I might as well just be jumping onto another site. For those who are not familiar in the past, there's this website called mangamagazine.net, which was then their name was pretty much switched to inkblazers.com. I wanted to put my webcomics up there, only then that didn't do so well because the website is dead. They had to file bankruptcy. Yeah, that didn't go so well. And then there was this other website called Taptastic, only then that they ended up renaming the website again to Tapsta. I don't know what's with these name changes. This is just silly, but what I'm trying to get at here is that just don't be surprised that I'm putting my webcomics in these sorts of sites. The reason why I prevent myself from putting my content up there is because my content is sitting next to other people's content. Let's just say for a moment that they have finished reading my webcomics. Alright, I'm done with that. Hey, there's this other series that I'm interested in because I'm in this website and I'm able to see content that is more interesting than what myself, that is the creator, is putting out. It's just like apparently the audience can get lost in. It's, I don't know why I have that fear. Really, I should let it go, to be quite frank. But, I just fear that I might lose my audience just because my content is sitting next to other people's content in a way. Granted that site is pretty large at this point. It's crazy. Yeah, it's really crazy. I haven't visited that site much, other than I think I visited that site like a week ago, and I just was a bit lost. I just need to explore it a bit more to see if that's a place I can, stick with, especially on terms of, copyright and, Creative Commons. Do they mesh together? Do they even care? I don't know. I don't want to have those moments of where in the past, granted, I think no, I don't even want to bring that up. Yeah, I don't want to bring it up because it has nothing to do with what I, what I'm trying to bring up as a poor example. It has nothing to do with it. It's just Instagram, how they have every right to use people's content without permission because that's part of the terms of service. But I put my stuff on Creative Commons, so I wouldn't really care. So I don't know why I'm bringing it up. So moving on. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Yeah, I guess the last major point I want to talk about is I don't mind making webcomics. I really don't. It's just that I need to explain this part here, and I don't want to. Because I don't want to bring my personal life into other people's faces. Nobody wants to hear, your dearest friend or family member come back home and then complain about work. No, once you leave work, once you enter into your vehicle, or once you walk out of work, you shouldn't be thinking about work, to be quite frank, because it's time to relax. It's time to let it go. You're not being paid to, to think about work once you, move outside of it, really. Unfortunately, I have a family member who just would like to complain about work every time she enters in the house, and I'm like, no, not a fan of that. Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm gonna get to it now. I have a full-time job. It's retail, if you're curious. Okay, so, and it takes about like 10 hours or even 11 hours of my life. The reason why is because it's a very lengthy drive to work, and then it's like it's an 8-hour shift, but then add another hour of break or lunch, really, break/lunch, and then I come back home. It's like, whew, that's pretty much 11 hours, and that's where I'm exhausted. I want to play games instead of having to find time to make art. It was only until then that when I have a day off, I am still tired in a sense, and I just want to relax, and I still don't feel like drawing, and that's really not good. Come on, it's my day off. It's time to do some art, right? Yeah. Only then I don't seem to get the energy, and this is why, I'm questioning myself. I am really questioning myself if I'm able to keep up with this. I really am. And I don't know. I really don't know. And hence this is why. To this day, I just do not want to accept any more, accept any donations. I really don't. I'm thinking about him. I should put up a Patreon. No, don't. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. Especially if I can't get my content, online on time. Then because I don't think I'm a trustable person anymore. I'm not trustable. If I can't get my content on, right on Wednesday, then I shouldn't be accepting donations. To be quite fair, I shouldn't be. I think it's time that I, find a better system, find a way to get this put together and say, hey, I should put more and more and more attention to this, because at this point, this is just, it's just still my hobby, but it's still something I want to push towards the future, and and just make more content. I don't want to work at retail for the rest of my life. I want to make art. I really do. But I'm not getting anywhere if I'm just gonna, sit back and relax and play video games. That's unacceptable. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I guess the last thing to put in is what I like to do in the future is, sure, I like to do more streams. I really do. Especially if it's just making art or playing games. But I also would like to, in a way, I need to find a way to make tutorials. I really do. It's nothing deep, but it's something unique at least, and I want to focus on that. I also like to just write some reviews. I still would like to write a review about this tablet PC, this HP EliteBook 2730p, which sounds like a weird aspect ratio, but no, that's just the model. I do like to do something about that, and I also like to write short stories, because lately I've been developing more short stories for this series called Lay in the Sacred Book. If you're not familiar with that, that's fine. I'll eventually talk about it later. So yeah, I guess that's it. I want to thank anyone who is even decide to listen to this. Yeah, it's I'm not really good at doing this kind of stuff, but hopefully I'll find a way to improve. So again, thank you for listening to this, and thank you to anyone who's who read my webcomic, or if you're planning to read it, please check it out, and thank you. But I think for now, if anything, I would just hope that more and more people would just share the work. I don't want money at all. I don't need money at all. I just don't. I want to. I think that must be said right there. And I understand I have these sketchbooks that is on Gumroad. I'm gonna find a way to just kill that off, and people will just can download it from archive.org. Yeah, so that way that because again, it's kind of silly. People have to put in their email just to download it, and I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that at all. Yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you.